Well, morning. I didn't say good, I didn't say bad. It's 7:40 in the morning West Coast time. It's January 17th, 2025 for Friday. The Supreme Court has ruled that TikTok ban will be upheld. And it's going to be up to, dare I mention the damn name, the old gas bag to decide whether or not he wants it or not. Now, it had been reported that he was going to support, a while ago, the ban. In fact, he wanted it, TikTok. Because TikTok was reported a long time ago being a Chinese owned company. It was going to be very manipulative of Americans' opinions and the worldwide opinion. In the United States, Congress had voted, and Biden signed it in, to have TikTok banned in the United States unless there was a willing buyer, a U.S. buyer, who can take it over. Nobody stepped up, not even the old mush face, who had his rocket exploded, I think, yesterday. Oh, they landed the booster. But the first portion of the capsule rocket was scattered across the oceans, and it was leaving quite a view that everyone else was taking pictures and posting it on social media. Uh, must be nice to waste billions and billions. Now, there's a lot of people going over to the Red Book of China. A lot of them. It's going to be an MS. They want their privacy. They want away from government interference into a potential foreign government interference. And they're going to trust China. They're going to trust China over Trump. W know, W don't know. Do we know about China? Well, we used China's product, so we were doing very good, weren't we? And they want that back. They want to continue on. They want their businesses. They want their dancing videos. They want whatever they got on social media. But my question was, actually, it still is, how much did China really influence America through its allowance? It was said or rumored that China was collecting data on Americans. Lots and lots of data. And the United States were not willing to let anybody else collect any more data on ours except the United States. But I had to keep in mind, even if it was a foreign product, it was still a product and it was still a company. They were using a U.S. front to manage it, but it was still Chinese owned. If I'm not mistaken, we had federal laws on the book, even for American companies who had media platforms on this one. I don't think they've covered anything concerned about more legalities yet.
Effect on Sunday. Not a huge surprise, but huge implications for people who use TikTok all over the country. Let me bring in
CNN.
CNN's Arlette Saenz over at the White House. The White House has issued a statement on this opinion. It sounds as though they're going to leave this for the next administration that's coming in, I don't know, 48, 72 hours from now. What can you tell us, Arlette?
Yeah, Jim, the White
House essentially is saying that the ball is in President-elect Trump's court at this time, as they've said that the implementation of this ban on TikTok would fall to the next administration. I want to read you a statement that we got just moments ago from White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, who said that the president believes TikTok should remain available to Americans, but simply under American ownership or other ownership that addresses the national security concerns identified by Congress in developing this law. She adds, given the sheer fact of timing, this administration recognizes that actions to implement the law simply must fall to the next administration, which takes office on Monday. This ban on TikTok is set to go into effect just hours before President-elect Trump is inaugurated and returns to the White House. So the statement from the White House is suggesting that they would not be enforcing this, enacting any penalties, for instance, on service providers who might keep the app up and running after this ban goes into effect. Now, there had been some Democratic lawmakers who had lobbied President Biden to extend the discussions about this law relating to TikTok. There is authority for the president to provide a 90-day extension, but there are certain requirements that have to be met, and White House officials say that those requirements have yet have been met or discussed. For instance, there would need to be credible negotiations that show that ByteDance was working towards selling this to an American company or another company that would fall under those requirements in the law. So simply at this time, as President Biden is winding down his own time in office, he's saying that they are leaving this up to the Trump administration to really enforce as this TikTok ban is set to go into effect on Sunday.
Yeah. Passing the hot potato, you might say. All right, Arlette Saenz over at the White House. Thanks so much. We'll continue to follow the breaking news. We've got a lot of analysts here with us to continue to break this down. A big change for people who use TikTok. You might not be able to use it much longer after the decision at the Supreme Court. More after a short break. Stay with us.
Now, I know there's going to be First Amendment people out there who are going to be arguing that it's interfering with the First Amendment of people, that they shouldn't have interfered. The problem is, if I hold on, let me get something here first. Copy. One must have coffee. Anyway, it sounds like I'm cheerful about this whole situation. Well, I am not going crazy over the First Amendment situation that people think that the platforms offer. And the problem is they keep forgetting they are private companies which are not subject under laws unless we've already got it through the Congress and enacted. And this also affects their tax statuses as well. But they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to say anything about it, so that's rude. So we're going to hear more of CNN freaking out.
Effect this weekend on Sunday, it sounds like, unless something intervenes. Let me bring in CNN's Hadas Gold. Hadas, what is going to happen when people try to open up this app on Sunday? It sounds like it could be sort of a cascading effect. It may work for a while, but if this stretches into Monday and Tuesday, maybe not so much. What can you tell us?
Yeah, so officially TikTok has not said exactly what the app will look like come Sunday. There is some reporting that when users try to open the app on Sunday, they're going to get a pop-up that explains the ban. There's some reporting there will be then an option to download your information. And Jim, I do want to note something very important. It's not just users in the United States who are going to be affected by this ban, even though the Supreme Court ruling obviously only applies to the United States. And that's because a lot of the service providers who help keep the app running, they're based in the United States. And so if they stop hosting TikTok, then users around the world they might not know which way their service provider goes, because the sort of underside network of all of this, if their service provider that they happen to use for that country takes down TikTok as well, then their access may be hurt as well. So here's some advice for people who love their TikToks and love the videos they themselves have posted or other videos they've posted on TikTok. Don't wait until Sunday. Start downloading your content today. There are options. You can easily look this up to start downloading the videos you have made onto TikTok. Any of the other information on TikTok you may want to save, just because we don't know exactly what this will look like come Sunday, and how difficult it may be to download your information. Now, something that's interesting coming from the creator creators who have built their careers on TikTok is right now they're scrambling, trying to make sure that their followers still follow them, even if it's on a different platform, whether that be Instagram or YouTube or X or any of the like. We've even seen some creators trying to just get the old school email addresses of their followers as a way to try and get, make sure that they stay in contact with their followers, because their follower basis is how they make their money based off of advertisers. We haven't seen one single app that everyone has sort of decided that's where they're going to go, even though there has been the popularity of some of these apps like Red Note, like Lemonade. But I should note, a lot of them are either owned by ByteDance, they would still be subjected to this law as well, or they are also Chinese-owned apps. So a lot of uncertainty out there for a lot of the creators. And what I'm seeing right now on TikTok is a lot of these sort of, sort of funny, sort of sad goodbye reels to goodbye videos to
goodness.
TikTok.
People are sort of saying goodbye, saying farewell to all their loyal followers out there. Is that what they're doing? My goodness.
Yeah, and to the app itself.
Yeah. Brian Stelter, I think Brian's also standing by. We're having sort of a media panel here to end the hour, which is terrific. Brian, I mean, to what Hadass was saying there a few moments ago, it's sort of the law of unintended consequences here. I think when everybody said, okay, and there was a lot of political posturing going on here in Washington, let's shut down TikTok, let's stick it to the Chinese. And now, in practice, this may not be that simple.
Nobody wants to be blamed for this,
Yeah.
Jim. I just went back and looked at what that House vote was. The initial House vote for this national security bill, 360 to 58. This was not close. Republicans were fully on board with this. So were most Democrats. This easily passed the House last year. But back then, the ban was still months away. A lot of users didn't believe it would actually happen. I've had everybody from my dentist to my babysitter asking this week, are they actually going to shut down TikTok? Because this did not sink in until the last few days. To Adas's point, those rival apps, those alternative apps, there's no perfect TikTok clone, but there's a bunch of alternatives. People have been trying them out. Meta's stock initially bounced on this news about an hour ago, but then it dropped back down because even Meta, the owner of Facebook and Threads and Instagram, doesn't have a perfect TikTok alternative. But the best ones that have been, embraced this week are Chinese owned. I had a tech executive email me the other day and say, aren't we just trading one Chinese app for another? So that is the situation that's going to unfold now if TikTok actually does go away on Sunday. But I think the Biden White House statement confirms that it will not start to fade away on Sunday. At least until Monday, TikTok will remain. And as Adele said, now this will be a situation where people will be affected, possibly, but we don't know exactly how they'll be affected.
Right, the Biden White House people seem to be saying, not my section, not my table anymore. They're passing this off to Trump, and it's now his mess. And to some extent, he got this thing started, so he's going to have to deal with it. And it is interesting to see the 180 he has done on this app because of the huge MAGA following on there, of course. Hadass and Brian, thank you both very much, and thanks to all of you for joining this morning. It's always an honor and a privilege and a pleasure to be with you day after day, week after week. I'm Jim Acosta. We'll continue to follow the fallout of the Supreme Court's opinion on TikTok when our next hour of Newsroom with Pamela Brown starts after a short break. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Now that's ominous. I was going online trying to check other sources, and I came across a story that Jim Acosta maybe switched over to a graveyard shift because he had been an anti-Trump voice when Trump was in office. So he was always talking and being critical about him. So it's either Acosta leaves CNN or he's going to be bounced somewhere else, or if CNN is going to be daring, keep him where Costa is going to be more effective during the daytime. And CNN is going to be flipping the bird. No, Costa will be bounced. He said it was an honor and privilege, huh? He's being bounced. Like other TikTok viewers are going to be bounced by U.S. congressional law. Most of them said yes. They're going to have the ban because they don't want a Chinese influence. And what happens? We got other places where China's saying, come to us anyway. We can't regulate social media platforms. If they are indeed corporations, if they are indeed companies, then they still have the laws on the books for rules and regulations of social media platforms. And because the upcoming federal government is going to be purely of maggot, They're not going to withhold. They're not going to uphold the First Amendment rights. Only for them, but not for us. For me, but not for thee, is the phrase, or paraphrasing it. So that's what we're dealing with right now. That's what we're dealing with right now. I had to research this a long while ago to see why. You treat a corporation like a person. They are not subject under rules and regulations and guidelines as a company would. You treat them as a person, and therefore they can contribute to a point, but they can still contribute. But we can't regulate companies because this goes across the board. That we put rules and regulations, that means Congress is going to have control over things, and Republicans don't like it, and they won't do it. So freedom of speech, if we thought is there, it's not going to be there. There's not going to be new rules or regulations or safety things for social media. Sorry, we're screwed. YouTube's going to be screwed unless they're going to be playing kowtow to Trump, and then they're going to be coming up with restrictions that even I will have problems on my channel because I get mouthy at times. I get very, very mouthy, and I get very hypocritical, and actually I get very insulting and direct. If I was just doing a simple diary log concerning about how I'm doing day by day by day, that's one thing. But over the past years, I've turned beyond just charting out my own emotional well-being and my own emotional health, and whether or not I'm going to be showing signs of committing the ultimate act of violence to myself and leaving this world. And then no more content. With TikTok, we just killed it with the ban. We killed it with the bill. We killed it with the quill. So it's gone. It's history. Now the pundits are going to be talking about it like crazy, and it's going to be up to President Gasbag to save it or not. But he was the one originally said that they were going to ban TikTok. He wanted them to ban TikTok because it was foreign owned. It was Chinese owned. He was pissy at China, so he was going to torture their ass. But now he's got to kiss ass with them. And since he already talked with Xi Jinping on this one, maybe, I don't know. There is no way to tell till after the 20th whether or not if it's going to be salvaged or not. After Sunday, we don't know. So a lot of people are going to be talking about it all day long. My opinion about TikTok, it was just another social platform. I couldn't understand it. Actually, how to use it. Hell, I can't even use Instagram. Twitter, yeah, and I stay the hell away from that shit. And Blue Sky. I'll stick with what I know. I'm old fashioned. If they had MySpace, I know about. I was on AOL for a long while, so I don't know about MySpace, but I know about AOL. When it was out there and usable, I was using it. I was using it. I know about CompuServe, and I used that too. There may have been a couple others, but I used them back in the 90s. Things have changed throughout the decades, and policies have changed, rules, regulations, laws. So the thing is, the United States said you are Chinese owned. You are an influencer of Chinese government policies. You are snooping on the American people. We don't want it, and unless you have that U.S. portion bought by somebody else who can be not influenced by China, bye. I'm not giddy about it. I'm not happy about it. I'm just stating what's happening at this point over here. And there's a lot of people who are going to be bye, but they're willing to go to China in a way. The little red book. TikTok is gone. The little red book lives. Didn't change much. Except now it's a little bit more stricter and maybe more controlling. And I don't know how they're going to be able to deal with it. But I'm not moving. I am where I am. I'll deal with the Facebook. I'll deal with Zuckerberg. I'll deal with the Google and YouTube. That's about it. Anything else? Mm-mm. Not this kid. And I get to deal with a dog. She's whining for my attention.